Please welcome the President of the U.S. Conference of Mayors and Oklahoma City Mayor David Holt, alongside the CEO of Americans for the Arts, Aaron Harkey.
All right, well, good morning and welcome to our last session here at our annual meeting in Long Beach. I respect and admire all of you for making it here this morning after the Snoop Dogg concert last night and the after party on the Queen Mary. This is, of course, my final session as President of the United States Conference of Mayors, and I am really excited that we could use that time to have a pretty interesting conversation with a hip-hop icon in just a few moments. And so to get that going, I'd like to bring CEO of Americans for the Arts, Aaron Harkey, to the podium. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Americans for the Arts, I want to thank everybody in this room. Every year, this conference reminds us of what's possible when local leaders invest in arts and culture. You build communities where people want to live, create, connect, and thrive. For our final honoree, we have this distinct privilege of celebrating a true trailblazer. This is someone who didn't just change music, he changed the national conversation. He has spent decades using art as a tool for truth-telling, civic engagement, and social change, proving that culture can challenge us, inspire us, and move us forward. Art is often described as a mirror. In the hands of Chuck D, it has also been a call to action. As the leader of Public Enemy, Chuck D helped create some of the most influential music of the last half century. I remember dancing in my living room as a young person to fight the power, which became more than a cultural touchstone. They became rallying cries, reminding us that artists have the power to spark dialogue, change assumptions, and encourage people to engage with the world around them. Chuck's influence extends beyond the recording studio. He's an activist, author, innovator, and cultural leader who has consistently used his platform to advance civic dialogue and public understanding. And throughout his career, he has demonstrated that artists are not just observers of society, they are active participants in shaping it. At a time when civic leaders across the country are grappling with questions of belonging, trust, and community, Chuck's work reminds us that culture is not separate from public life. It's one of the ways we understand ourselves, connect with one another, and imagine a better future. For his extraordinary contributions to music, culture, and civic dialogue and social change, we are proud to honor Chuck D with the 2026 Citizen Artist Award. And to share more about our honoree, please welcome back to the podium, Oklahoma City Mayor David Holt.
Thank you, Aaron. And we sure appreciate the partnership that we have with Americans for the Arts, and we've certainly been maximizing it this week. Chuck D is a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, cultural icon, and hip-hop legend, social activist, author, digital music pioneer, visual artist, and multimedia producer. Known worldwide as the co-founder of Public Enemy, he ignited a movement with his fearless lyrics and remains one of the most influential figures in contemporary culture. Creating and delivering groundbreaking music since 1987, Public Enemy and Chuck D were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2013 and received the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 2020. The New York Times named Public Enemy's music to their list of the 25 most significant albums of the last century. It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back and Fear of a Black Planet were both named to Rolling Stone's 500 greatest albums of all time. In addition to his work with Public Enemy and his solo career, Chuck D is a founding member of the supergroup Prophets of Rage, alongside members of Rage Against the Machine and Cypress Hill. He is also a visual artist. I actually sat next to him at a Thunder Knicks game a couple years ago and watched him sketch throughout most of the game. His work has been exhibited in galleries and museums worldwide and is included in the permanent collection of the Smithsonian Institution's National Museum of African American History and Culture. Chuck D is not only one of the most influential figures in the history of hip-hop and modern popular music, he is a powerful voice for social change. He is therefore a most fitting recipient of this honor, and on behalf of the U.S. Conference of Mayors and Americans for the Arts, it is our honor to present the 2026 Citizen Artist Award to Chuck D. I get it. Congratulations. Yeah, let's get a picture here. All right, we'll have a seat. We'll have a quick chat, Chuck.
All right.
Well, thank you for making this work. He actually woke up in Austin, Texas this morning. So if you guys think you're struggling after the Snoop Dogg concert, just know that he's traveled across the country this morning to be here.
Yeah, and the night before Austin, the night before, I was with Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, and we were in Monmouth, New Jersey, a concert. Yeah, there you go. Celebrating a concert, the music that made America.
Yeah.
So so I go from Bruce to Austin to here we are in Long Beach, and y'all just had the residue of Snoop Dogg. and one of my all-time favorite guys, Warren G.
Yeah.
Warren nice guy.
Awesome. And we also had Sublime on.
Oh yeah, Sublime. Yes, that's from here.
Yeah,
so.
we have had a lot of Long Beach culture this week. Well, hip hop in the 1980s, Chuck, was known largely for its energy, creativity, and party records. While there were important exceptions, like The Message by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, social commentary was not yet at the center of much of the genre. Public Enemy helped change that. What inspired you to use music as a platform for education, social commentary, and public dialogue? Why was it important to you at that point in your career to focus your lyrics on topics that might be considered social or political?
Well, age has something to do with it, Mr. Mayor. I was born in the 60s, 1960, and the pursuit of education and also the arts was something that was inbred in my family. And the fact that in the 60s and 70s, we wanted that education. We wanted to actually have our communities being respected, but we also wanted that role of leadership even when we were younger. We sought that. Those are some of the attributes that was being spread in the 60s and 70s that the black community wanted. So actually being a college student in the late 70s and early 80s, and also finding this art form, which is a hybrid between the music and the singers, and also what the radio stations were doing and presenting. Hip hop and DJs and MCing came out of that. You know, you fall into trouble when you try to say that in hip hop we're musicians. Yes, we can play music. In hip hop we're singers. Yes, we can sing. But what we do is rap and we DJ, which pays homage to the cultures. It pays homage to all the musics. It pays homage to all the regions, all the languages, and you're that hybrid that actually galvanizes both sides. And we studied it, we looked at it from a higher level, and we went at it when we had the opportunity to become recording artists ourselves. And we knew what we was doing. So I think in any art form, you gotta really know what you're not as opposed to what you are. It helps you with your definitions. I was, like I said, the other night I was with Bruce Springsteen on stage, but we still was able to play Fight the Power because the context of what you're talking about can always be rewritten in what you're going at. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
So you and I first met when you came to OKC at the invitation of a local hip hop artist and activist in my city named JB, a friend of both of ours.
Yes.
On that visit, you spoke in support of JB's efforts with the Live Free organization, which operates in our city as well as a few others. Live Free is focused on grassroots violence intervention and conflict resolution under the theory that if you're depending on police to stop violence, you're probably way too late in the continuum. That communities have to help their own residents avoid these violent outcomes days, weeks, or months before it comes to that. You've actually done a lot of speaking on violence prevention and intervention. Maybe talk about why that's been important to you.
Yeah, forever. I mean, you know, every situation has a seed. And people want the opportunity to be able to come up. And if their community is not informed, if education is slight, they don't know who, they don't know, you know, and they know, a lot of people don't want to figure out what they want. But also when you know who, it can help you really focus on what you need and how to get it and how to go about it. I don't think, you know, you have a situation where people want to just fight government because they want to be able to be involved in governing their situation. We the people is important, but you want to be included instead of excluded. So all the things that come up out of it, I think people want answers. I don't think there's an age thing where, okay, now when I get older, all of a sudden I want to be concerned. I think we have to be in a situation where you got to look at somebody 13 and 14 and 15 as a future adult instead of saying they're kids and they're not going to get it until they're 40 years old. And then you had things like MTV which would extend teenage years to 29 or 35 or 43. And I think, I'm a geographic person. So it's important for me as an artist to not just appear in an area, but to know where I'm going, talk to the people. Other art forms have done that. I think hip hop, I was one of the first one that did that. So going to a city, asking questions, knowing where you're going, knowing what your next city is, I took pride in doing that. So JB was a young artist who was doing his music, and I do this show, and now I'm gonna have a show on Sirius XM. I do worldwide international shows through technology. And one day I saw JB audition his music as somebody had wanted to get played, and I played his music on one of my radio shows, stayed in touch with him, and the next thing he sends me a magazine for the Oklahoma Gazette, and he's on the cover. And this goes down to the point, mayors in the House, is that the whole aspect about music and culture is a language that ties us together with our similarities and knocks the differences to the side. It's very important to act local and think global, but it's also important to pay attention to what's happening around the world, because you don't know what you can do or what's out there that you can apply to your local situation. If you don't support the artists locally, what will happen is that corporations on the outside that have no concern about where you're from, they will make something national. And I think that when you build arts from a local standpoint, not only will it support the arts, the community, but it would also galvanize the community and make that grow. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes in the arts, is that you let corporations and companies have the narrative on it instead of the community. People want to, like artists want to live in their community. They want to also be supported in their community. They want to buy a house in their community. They want to be able to live in their community and have their kids come up there. But also they want to know that they can make a living there instead of having to be this global, worldwide, nationwide star. And I think that's the biggest misnomer that has hurt the arts and the community over the last 45 to 50 years, and especially with the art form of hip hop and rap music. Why should an artist be from somewhere else to play in a city and then be applauded, lauded, and then money spent for them, when that artist and that art community could come from that particular city? I think like sports, if somebody runs a fast race and a record time, they could come from anywhere, and they come up in the community. They go to the college, they go into the pro ranks. So I think that the arts are less supported than sports, and I think we can probably do the same thing with the arts, and that's why the American for the Arts is so important.
And yeah, please.
There's a seed to everything, and I think a lot of this narrative has come from outside your community, and you try to figure out, like, why are these artists talking about that? Because the galvanizing of the arts and hip hop, rap music, pop songs is coming from LA and New York corporate situations. I think community can help break that down, and you'll see artists do great things for your community when you include them and also make ways that they can make a living. Yeah, of course they got to do the right thing. They want to do the right thing. But if they know that saying anything is going to make them money and it's just an illusionist trick, then they will do and say anything just to be popular. And you got to be able to kind of like show a road that works for them and you and art.
Yeah. Well said. So obviously there's a lot of mayors in this room. You met quite a few. Just when Chuck D walked into the convention center, the Chuck D fan club arrived, and we got Matt Turk and a bunch of people.
Well, the other mayors that did make it, they missed out. They missed out.
So-
the best thing is last.
Well, he's going to leave at some point, so you could catch him again maybe in the lobby. But what would you want, Chuck, what would you want America's mayors to hear from you? Because this is an audience that you have a lot of influence with, I think. What is it? I mean, you got hundreds of mayors in the room and watching on our YouTube channel. You know, what is it that you think is most important for us to be focused on right now?
Well, have some kind of serious concern for how the arts in your in your community or in your region or in your city could be beneficial and cloud out the outside. What's needed from the industry, and the industry is vast, but it's also small, is a directory of who to go to and what to go to in order to be able to help your needs. Or at least, you know, the music and the culture is the communication. That's all it is, and you can help that out. We have to know what we are not. We're not going to cure anything, but the language of curing could also be spread out in your local city. You have uses of radio stations. At least you have radio stations in situations that are set up in your community that can also provide a public service to say the right and do the right thing. Back in the 80s and the 90s, you had public service announcements and they use artists. You don't see that no more because people are like, oh, we don't know if people are looking at TV or they're just lost in 1 trillion files on YouTube. That's true. However, you have controlling areas where you can actually add high visibility for people who are saying and doing the right thing. I tell people all the time, the artist's role is to also be beacons of truth, but also to shine light on real people doing real things. There are 25 to 30 different topics that could be played and used in music, but they stay to the 4 to 5 because they think these are the 4 to 5 that people want to hear, and they never really check it out. So I think a directory of the right artists, the country, the right artists, the companies that trying to do the right thing. The arts community, they need that too, but they need the opportunity. So that's what cities can do. Look in your own community and see what's going on, and if they don't have it, also trying to figure out, is there a bridge between the artists and also the education in your community? Because for the last 35 years, superintendents been throwing their hands in the air and say, I don't even know what's going on. And also, you can never say 10 years, talk about 10 years ago. It's 5 plus 5, because the pandemic in the middle was a changer. We can't forget that. It changed all the realms of how people communicate, what they're looking at, how they respond. So you also got to take that in consideration. How do you thread what people like and what people dig in your community? Now, since we're all outside for the last 4 years, how do we change the narrative on that? I don't know if I'm becoming long-winded, but when y'all go back to your cities, you know the problems and you know the issues. One of the biggest things we always talk about all the time is like, how do you have somebody in your community be able to afford housing in your community and stay there and be beneficial? They gotta be able to live there. They wanna live there, but if they can't afford to live there, then they're gonna go elsewhere. And this movement is not the best thing, I don't think.
Housing is the #1 issue. Even Chuck D knows that. You could be mayor. So I've heard you talk about language and narrative. This is a perfect segue to this question. I want you to maybe coach us up a little bit. As a hip hop artist, you have something in common with us as mayors. Your most powerful tool is the spoken word. It is what you have used to make social change. That happens to be the same for us. People sometimes think mayors have dictatorial powers, but in reality, the greatest change we make is through persuasion, which comes through our use of the spoken word. What advice would you have for us as communicators? How do we mayors best use our words to make change?
Well, this is good that you all communicate with each other. And that's a sign of what artists need to do. They need to listen to each other. We're in the time, though, where people kind of listen with their eyes too much instead of listening with their ears and processing it with their brains. Therefore, I don't think that mayors, although you're a cool dude, you're a hip guy, I don't think I don't think we always need people that have to be in office, that have to be, oh, there's a mayor, he's a rock star. No, I think we need separation here. I think we got to also get into this, a country that needs to like kind of listen and process. Why does every person running for office got to look like a movie star? We got to get out of that. Sometimes the best eligible people are not somebody that, you know, oh, wow, they look great. I mean, and I think ever since the Kennedy election, it's been on that downward spiral where people kind of look and they don't really listen or even kind of like process what the person is saying. So I just think that there's a lot of people that are skilled that need to be discovered. Their recruitment needs to be different. Same thing with music. Not every person that's supposed to has a great voice, they're not supposed to write their songs. And not every person that, you know, writes their songs needs to be the voice that says them. I think it's the same thing with office and people that are administrators. Administration and management is the most important thing to everything. And the industry that you guys look at as the music industry has none. They haven't had administration, management, or responsibility for the last 25 years. Yeah, you see it work, but you just think it works because it works. But also you're seeing the end results, and you got to deal with it. I don't like to see young black people go immediately into the prison industrial complex. But if something is leading them there and they have nothing to stop them on the way, and there's not enough situations in the community, they're going to head right in and they're going to be part of another problem. So I think that the communication of music can set you free. It's a lot, you know, it's knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. It's, you know, these are the things that give us logic. And leadership has to have logic. Right now, I'm a Knicks fan. We're up, well,
we're going to get to that.
Everybody doesn't have to be, yeah, we'll get to that. Everybody doesn't have to be a Knicks fan. But right now, we have a situation in Manhattan where they're stopping a watch party where people just want to have a good time because they can't get into Madison Square Garden with $42,000 seats. So they had the watch party outside the garden. They can't have it Monday because the POTUS, instead of saying, you know, I'm going to fall back because it's important that people are having a good time, he's a little selfish. So there's a lot of people that says, you know, and leadership has to be selfless at many times. And leadership also has to be like, you have to defer to your staff as being great people. Everybody needs acknowledgement. And this is the thing that we learn from sports, is that a great team, you know, and my favorite team is led by a great guy like Jalen Brunson, and your favorite team is, you know, Shea Gilgeous, and what they do, they defer all the pomp and circumstance to the team, the administration, the management, and they make sacrifices. Music used to be that when it had administration to let people know that there's a pecking order. The other night, I come from an area, I see the boss, Bruce Springsteen. He comes from a music that's understood before my music. I defer to the boss's leadership. Yeah, I'm in rap, he's a rock star, boom, okay. How do we develop ourselves to be as accountable and responsible, you know, for music that, you know, that they have? Yeah, sex, drugs, rock and roll, it's all that, but everything has a time and place. Everything has a time and place. Should it bleed over in society with no governor? That's a little crazy. Nobody wants craziness in their life.
Well, let's finish on something fun. You alluded to it already.
Oh, that wasn't fun? Hey, this man fed me for a day.
Yeah, that's right, because you came to Oklahoma City and we watched a Thunder Knicks game together a couple of years ago, and we were so sure that we were going to watch the NBA Finals between the Knicks and the Thunder. Didn't come to be, but your team took care of its side of it. And
your team took care of it last year.
Yes.
And we threw it away against the Pacers.
Well, it may all work out eventually for both of our teams. And right now, your team's up 2-0. What's about to happen from here?
Well, they got to win game 3, but I hope they got good karma because they got a guy sitting sidelines that got a little selfish. But I think as an artist, it's very important that artists pay attention to where they're going. And too often, the music industry and the film industry has gotten off into this, y'all are little and we're big because I come from a big place and y'all don't mean anything. And so many people in the United States of America know so little about America. And if you ask somebody about, and this is a gigantic place, it's especially the lower 48. It's 2,000 by 3,000 miles. Every place is important. And I always tell a young person, you know, and I've spoken at 500 colleges, and I will always ask a person, like, where you from? And if they felt it was from a small place, and today I met the mayor of Sheboygan, you know, they'd be like,
Everybody loves meeting the mayor of Sheboygan.
and they'd be like, oh, I'm from, you never heard of it. And I'm like, test me. I'm a geographic. I'm the original I've been everywhere man of hip hop, right? And I pay attention to that. And I said, listen, no matter where you are on the planet Earth, you're the axis of the planet Earth because the whole Earth is around you and you're in the middle point. That's how you gotta look at it. So this is what I tell young people. Don't think that you're insignificant. Don't think that you're insignificant. You got to be able to tell people, especially under 21, you are not insignificant. You are in the center of the planet Earth. You're at the axis. So acknowledge that. And I think that people in authority need to also think that too. There's no such thing as you could be in a smaller city, in a smaller town, but it's not that you're less significant. And that's what we always have to tell fan bases. And fan bases are very important for them to stay fan bases. And always the important thing I learned very early is that there's a difference between spectacle and spectacular. And you know what it is, Mr. Mayor?
No.
Spectacle gets you to the building. Spectacular keeps you coming back. That's the thing I always tell artists. Spectacle, anybody go, yeah, you're a spectacle, which means they're gonna come and they're gonna exhaust it and they might never come back. Spectacular always keeps them coming back. So everybody always has something to work for and work on.
I think we can absolutely translate that to that last statement to our work as mayors. Chuck, thank you so much.
Thank you. I think the easiest thing for me, just if you want to take my email address, I'll say it. You can write it down real slow. It's Spit Slam. Okay, that's my record company. Spit Slam 60. That's the year I'm born, at Gmail. And my companies will process it, and we're building an agency right now. I started a magazine that's published in London that explains the narrative of the art form, and I'm starting an agency of artists that can be able to go and talk to communities, be able to enhance the art form, and do all the things that I was happy to do for 40 years, but since I kind of aged out of that, how can I lead to build an agency that will help the communities and you not being embarrassed by making the wrong choice? That's it.
Thank you. Let's hear it for Chuck D.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was great.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, let's get you. That fell off.
I can carry it.
Our program will resume momentarily.
right. Thank you for your patience. This hopefully won't take too long, but it is time for our business session. Because we will be considering resolutions this morning, I urge you to review the section in your program that explains the credential process, page 5, or look in the notices section of our app. Please make sure you have your credential card in hand to be counted during any votes. Let's now begin the business session. I'd ask that mayors please keep their remarks concise. I'm just reading this. I don't really care. You can talk all you want. In the interest of saving time, if there is no objection, debate will be limited to 2 speeches of 2 minutes per mayor per question. As there is no objection, the rule is adopted for this meeting. I'm just reading this cold. I'm like Anchorman. I'll just read whatever's in front of me. Sounds like we're going well on the parliamentary procedure. Am I correct? Yes. The first item of business is to consider the resolutions before us, which, if passed, will become the official policy of the Conference of Mayors. This is important. The resolutions have come from the standing committees. The U.S. Conference of Mayors Executive Committee, through the bylaws, does allow mayors to record a no vote on a specific resolution that is adopted in either a committee meeting or the business session during the annual meeting. In both cases, the mayor must be present for the vote. What does that mean? That's not true. They can cast their no votes on the app, right? Yeah. For a committee-passed resolution, the mayor must also be a member of the committee to record a no vote. Sure, that makes sense. The rule will not change, the vote will not change the voting results on a resolution, but we created this a few years ago, so if you have an objection to a resolution and you want to be publicly recorded that way, we give you that opportunity. So to register a no vote on a resolution that passes during this business section, go to the resolution section in the 94th annual meeting section of the app and tap the resolution on which you wish to vote. A vote button will be visible at the lower portion of the screen. Again, that is if you want to record a no vote. Mayors, their staff, or their city representative will have until 11 a.m. Pacific time on Tuesday, June 9th, to register that no vote. That was something we added in the bylaws. Sometimes I think in the past you had a few hours. We've now given you a couple of days to take care of that. We will now consider the resolutions from the standing committees of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. The resolutions will be considered committee by committee in the order that is listed in the app. The procedure will be as follows. First, the chair of each committee or their designee will make a brief presentation of that committee's resolutions and then move for their adoption. Next, I will ask for a second. Then I will ask if any other mayor wants to have an individual resolution pulled for special consideration out of the committee's slate. Once the resolutions to be pulled have identified and set aside, we will vote on the remaining resolutions for that committee as a block. We will go through this procedure for each standing committee until we are through them all. Then we will have a discussion on all of the resolutions that were pulled for special consideration, followed by a separate vote on each of those. If parliamentary issues should arise during our debate, we have a professional parliamentarian present who will be able to assist us in resolving them. And he has a name. His name is Tim Wynn. Tim, how many years have you been doing this for us? 15 years he's been sitting here. You recognize Tim. You see him this time every year. All right. Now, I see that we have names here. If they are wrong for some reason, just speak up. But we're going to start with community development and housing. And so we will begin with the mayor of Largo, Florida, Woody Brown, from that committee. Where is Mayor Brown?
I'm checking to make sure this mic works.
It works.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Community Development and Housing Committee met on Thursday, June 4th. We considered 5 resolutions that were submitted in a timely manner. The committee reported out 5 of these resolutions. I move to adopt the following resolutions: number 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Thank you. I now call for a second on that motion. Second. We have a second. Does any mayor want any of those resolutions to be pulled for a special consideration? Hearing none, I now call for a vote on the resolutions as a block. All those in favor say, this is yay. I'm an aye guy. Can I be an aye guy? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the resolutions are passed. Thank you, Mayor Brown. All right, next up is the mayor of a big fan of Chuck D. You should have seen him out in the lobby. He was very excited. I was happy for you. The mayor of Allentown, Matt Turk, chair of the Children Health and Human Services Committee, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Rebel without a pause. The Children Health and Human Services Committee met on Friday, June 5th. We considered 5 resolutions that were submitted in a timely manner, covering topics such as strengthening SNAP and supporting no-kill animal shelters. Resolution number 4 was pulled and amended. I move to adopt the following resolutions: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Bring the noise, fight the power.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is there a second on that motion? We've got a second. Does any mayor want any of those resolutions to be pulled for special consideration? Hearing no such request, I now call for a vote on the resolutions as a block. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the resolutions are passed. Thank you, Mayor Turk. All right, next up is the Mayor of Fresno, Jerry Dyer, Vice Chair for Community Policing on the Criminal and Social Justice Committee. You are recognized.
Thank you, Mayor Holt. The Criminal and Social Justice Committee met on June 4, 2026, and considered 11 resolutions. The committee reported out those 11 resolutions for consideration at this business session. I now move adoption of resolutions number 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 52, and 54.
All right, is there a second to that motion? We've got a second. Does any mayor want any of those resolutions to be pulled out for special consideration? Hearing no such request, I now call for a vote on the resolutions as a block. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. The motion carries. The resolutions are passed. Thank you, Mayor Dyer. I now call upon the Mayor of Columbia, South Carolina, Daniel Rickenman, to speak for the Energy Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Energy Committee met on Thursday, June 4th, 2026. They considered 3 resolutions that were submitted in the normal order. The committee reported out all 3 resolutions. I move to adopt the following resolutions: number 20, number 21, and number 22.
All right, is there a second for that motion?
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Does any mayor want any of those resolutions to be pulled for special consideration? Hearing no such request, I now call for a vote on the resolutions as a block. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. The ayes have it. The resolutions are passed. Thank you, Mayor Rickenman. Now we have another big Public Enemy fan, also a major fan of the Flaming Lips of Oklahoma City, the Mayor of Columbia, Missouri, Barbara Buffalo, Chair of the Environment Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. The better Columbia is what I say. The Environment Committee met on Friday, June 5th, 2026. We considered 3 resolutions that were submitted in a timely manner. The committee reported out all 3 resolutions, and I move to adopt the following resolutions: 23, 24, and 25.
All right, we have that motion. Is there a second? Second. We've got a motion and a second. Does any mayor want any of those resolutions to be pulled for special consideration? Hearing no such request, I now call for a vote on the resolutions as a block. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. The resolutions are passed. Thank you, Mayor Buffalo. I now call on the Mayor of Beaverton, Oregon, Lacey Beatty. Beatty. I had it right the first time. Shouldn't have questioned myself. Mayor Beatty from the International Affairs Committee. You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. The International Affairs Standing Committee met on Friday, June 5th. We passed 3 resolutions. Amendments were offered to Resolution 2653, which were also approved. I move for the adoption of all 3 resolutions, which are 26, 27, and 53. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Does any mayor want any of the resolutions to be pulled for special consideration? Hearing no such request, I now call for a vote on the resolutions as a block. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. The ayes have it. The resolutions are passed. Thank you, Mayor Beatty. Next up is the Mayor of Pensacola, D.C. Reeves, Chair of the Jobs, Education, and the Workforce Committee. You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Jobs, Education, and Workforce Standing Committee met on Friday, June 5th, to consider 3 resolutions submitted in a timely manner. I move to the adoption of resolutions 28, 29, and 2.
All right, is there a second for that motion? Second. We've got a motion and a second. Does any mayor want any resolution to be pulled from that slate for special consideration? Hearing no such request, I will now call for a vote on the resolutions as a block. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the resolutions are passed. Thank you, Mayor Reeves. I now call on the mayor of Piscataway, New Jersey, Brian Waller. You know, in the teleprompter it says whaler, which would be a profession one could have in New Jersey.
Stick with your gut first. You're running 0 for 2, Ms.
Mayor Waller from the Metro Economies Committee, you're recognized.
Well, Mr. President, I will give you a prediction since Carl Anthony Towns of the New York Knicks is from Piscataway Township. He will pull down 18 points and 14 boards at the next game.
All right. Noted for the record. Did you get that, Tim? All right.
Second. Okay, thank you, Mr. President. I rise to give the report for the Metro Economy Standing Committee, which has jurisdiction over economic policy, the federal budget, tax policy, government reform, the census, and Veterans Affairs. The committee met on Thursday, June 4th, precisely at 2:15 p.m., chaired by Fort Worth Mayor Matty Parker. The committee considered and passed resolutions 30, 31, 32, 33, 34 as amended, 35, 36, and 37. Mr. President, I would kindly move adoption of those resolutions.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second? Second. There's a motion and a second. Does any mayor want any of those resolutions to be pulled for special consideration? Hearing no such request, I now call for a vote on the resolutions as a block. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the resolutions are passed. Thank you, Mayor Waller. I now call on the mayor of Sunnyvale, Larry Klein, vice chair of the Technology and Innovation Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Technology and Innovation Standing Committee met on Friday, June 5th, to consider 4 resolutions submitted in a timely manner. The committee reported out all 4 resolutions. I move the adoption of resolutions 38, 39, 40, and 41.
All right, is there a second to that motion? Second. We've got a motion and a second. Come on, people, wake it up. Come on. Got a motion and a second. Does any mayor want a resolution to be pulled for special consideration? Hearing no such request, I now call for a vote on the resolutions as a block. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the resolutions are passed. Thank you, Mayor Klein. Next up is Reno Mayor and past President Hillary Sheevey speaking for the Tourism, Arts, Parks, Entertainment, and Sports Committee, otherwise known as TAPES.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. The Tourism, Arts, Parks, Entertainment, and Sports Committee met on Friday, June 5th, and reported out the following resolutions: 27, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, and 47. All right, I move for their adoption.
All right, is there a second for that motion? We've got a motion and a second. Does any mayor want any of those resolutions to be pulled for special consideration? Hearing no such request, I now call for a vote on the resolutions as a block. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. The ayes have it, and the resolutions are passed. Thank you, Mayor Sheevey. And I guess our final report from the standing committees will be from the mayor of Edina? Edina, yeah. Yep. Mayor of Edina, James Hovland, chair of the Transportation Committee.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just, you know, I was inspired by what we'd experienced here in Long Beach, and I just couldn't resist this morning. And this is just a 20-minute effort, but I just want to say Long Beach, Vibe City, showed itself off real pretty, especially on Snoop Dogg night. It was a rockin' hip-hop time with a lot of rhyme, appreciated by even an old Midwestern mayor past his prime. All that singing left my ears still ringing by the time I got to the Queen Mary. She's a grand old ship, still remarkably hip, and the best of all, you could still stand on the deck and feel the vibe across the water at Amphitheater Hall. So a hearty thanks to Mayor Rex for the best of times in the beach. The vibe, the jive, the people so alive with all that goodwill they showed us. His town's a special place, and it showed its best face for for the last 5 days to us all. Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor,
That was not ChatGPT.
Mayor Hovland dropping bars.
And that was not Chat GPT. That was the old mayor's head in about 20 minutes. So anyway, here we go.
And Chuck, you just left. You could have been discovered.
Back to the business at hand. The Standing Committee on Transportation met on Friday, June 5th. We considered 4 proposed resolutions, 48, 49, 50, and 51, all timely filed, and we now move to adopt those in the main body here at this convocation.
All right. Is there a second for the motion? We got a motion and a second. Does any mayor want any of those resolutions to be pulled for separate consideration? Hearing no such request, I will now call for a vote on the resolutions as a block. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the resolutions are passed. Thank you, Mayor Hovland, for everything associated with that presentation. As permitted under our bylaws, I am now very pleased to move a privileged resolution. At your tables is a resolution of appreciation for the Honorable Rex Richardson, Mayor of Long Beach, and host mayor of the 94th annual meeting of the United States Conference of Mayors. What can we say, Mayor Richardson? This has been an amazing week. I am so grateful that I got to be the president for your meeting. You have absolutely killed it and made all of us look good. And what a fantastic conclusion last night for this child of the 90s to help you to find myself on stage in Long Beach, California, helping you open the Key to the City case. I'll be processing that for the rest of my life, so that happened. So congratulations, thank you, and all of that gratitude and more is highlighted in the whereas clauses of this resolution, and I'm going to read the resolved clauses. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the meeting attendees, including the mayors, their families and staff, and the Conference of Mayors team, thank Mayor Rex Richardson for his devotion to his city and his generous hospitality during the 94th annual meeting. And be it further resolved that the United States Conference of Mayors extends its gratitude to Long Beach City staff, volunteers, and community members who welcomed America's mayors with open arms. All those in favor of the resolution, please say aye. Aye. No votes will even be accepted. The resolution is adopted. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Richardson. All right, the nominating committee report will now be given by the mayor of Fresno, Jerry Dyer. You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to those who served on this year's nominating committee. The nominating committee, chaired by Mayor Chris Jensen, convened on Friday, June 5th, 2026, and respectfully submits the following recommendations for approval by the membership of the United States Conference of Mayors. For a 3-year position of second vice president, and president, Mayor Daniel Rickenman of Columbia, South Carolina.
Woo!
For trustee, Mayor D.C. Reeves of Pensacola, Florida. And for advisory board, Mayor Mark Freeman of Mesa, Mayor Karen Go of Bakersfield, Mayor Eileen Higgins of Miami, Mayor Cavalier Johnson of Milwaukee, Mayor Mike Johnston of Denver, and Mayor Ryan Sorensen of Sheboygan.
All right. Well, the folks who serve in these elected leadership positions on the advisory board, trustee level, and as officers put a lot of work into the governance of this organization, and we're so grateful for their willingness to serve. And I'm so grateful to you, Mayor Dyer, and Chairman Jensen, and everybody on the nominating committee for your hard work. I guess we don't need a second on that report. We're just going to vote. Okay, I now call for a vote to accept the report of the nominating committee. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Congratulations to all, to our new officer, our new trustee, and our new advisory board members. Okay, thank you. This ends our business section. We are now concluded in that respect. And is this like it? Is this where I walk off? Is this where I ride off into the sunset? Okay. If I could ask, and I'm going to say this really for the first time where it is officially true, this says mayors, but I'm going to change their titles. If I could ask President Gloria, Vice President Gaylor Baird, and Second Vice President Rickenman to please come to the stage for a photo. Thank you for the honor I have had this last year. Wait, now I'm
here for Mayor Holt.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Mayor Holt. And as my first act as president of this incredible organization, it is my great pleasure to move a privileged resolution of appreciation for the Honorable David Holt, the mayor of Oklahoma City and the 83rd president of the United States Conference of Mayors. As outlined in the whereas clauses of this resolution, which are at your tables, Mayor Holt has led this organization with steadiness and resolve and elevated the voices of America's mayors. And let me read briefly from the resolved clauses. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the entirety of the United States Conference of Mayors expresses their deepest gratitude to Mayor Holt for his steady, devoted, and focused leadership as the 83rd president of the United States Conference of Mayors. And be it further resolved that the conference recognizes his committed staff who played a pivotal role in the success of his tenure as conference president. Membership, I ask all those in favor of this privileged resolution to say aye. All right, any opposed? All right, very good. This resolution is adopted, and I congratulate Mayor Holt. Thank you. And one more last round of applause for our...
I really thought I had left. I was halfway out of here. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you all. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, our meeting is adjourned. Travel home safe, everybody. We'll see you soon.